you. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, and you should be seeing the Arabic alphabet. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say the letters and I want you to repeat them after me, okay? Aleph.
Okay. Aleph.
Ba.
Ba.
Ta.
Ta.
Tha.
Tha.
Jim.
Jim.
Ha.
Ha.
Kha.
Ha.
Dal.
Dal.
Val.
Dal.
Ra.
Ra.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Ra.
Ra.
Zay.
Zay.
Seen.
Seen.
Sheen.
Sheen.
Sawed.
Sawed.
Dawd.
Dawd.
Ta.
Ta.
Tha.
Za. Tha. I messed that one up.
Okay, listen again. Tha. Tha.
Tha.
Good. Tha.
Tha.
Ein.
Ein.
Rein.
Yain.
Fa.
Fa.
Cough.
Cough.
Calf.
Calf.
Lamb.
Lamb.
Meme.
Meme.
Noon.
Noon.
Ha.
Ha.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's try it again from the beginning. Aleph.
Aleph.
Ba.
Ba.
Ta.
Ta.
Tha.
Tha.
Jim.
Jim.
Ha.
Ha.
Kha.
Ha.
Dal.
Dal.
Val.
Dal.
Ra.
Ra.
Zay.
Zay.
Seen.
Seen.
Sheen.
Sheen.
Sawed.
Sawed.
Dawd.
Dawd.
Ta.
Ta.
Tha.
Tha.
Ein.
Ein.
Rein.
Gein.
Fa.
Fa.
Cough.
Cough.
Calf.
Calf.
Lamb.
Lamb.
Meme.
Meme.
Noon.
Noon.
Ha.
Ha.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Have you had a chance to watch the videotapes from last week or not?
No, I haven't.
You haven't. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go over some stuff with you. Okay, so there are 28 letters in the Arabic alphabet. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to a couple of extra letters that we can talk about, but they're not actually part of the original 28 letters. Okay. In Arabic, we have 3 long vowels and 3 short vowels. 3 long vowels and 3 short vowels. Okay, the long vowels are always written as part of the word. The short vowels typically are not written. So let me go over what they are. Okay, let's start with the long vowels. Okay, our long vowels are aleph, waw, and ya. Aleph, waw, and ya. These are your 3 long vowels in Arabic. Aleph, wow, and yeah. We go through them one at a time. Okay, our first one is Aleph. Aleph makes the ah sound. Ah. Aleph, ah. You'll sometimes see Aleph written like this with Hamza over it. So then it's like starting a word with a short vowel. It's ah. Okay. You'll also see it written like this with it on the bottom. It actually then makes the E sound. Okay.
Okay.
It makes the E sound when it's written on the bottom. But in general, Aleph is the ah sound. Ah. Okay, our next vowel is wow. Wow can be both a consonant as well as a vowel. Okay, it's a vowel and a consonant. As a consonant, it makes the wa sound. Wa. As a consonant. And that's where we get the name wow. Makes the wa sound. But it's also a vowel, a long vowel. So as a long vowel, it makes the oo sound, like a long oo in English. Oo. So the letter wow can be a consonant or a vowel. As a vowel, it makes the oo sound. Ooh. Okay, and then our next vowel, our last vowel, is the letter ya. Ya, just like wow, can be both a consonant and a vowel. As a consonant, it makes the ya sound. Ya. Ya, which is where we get the name, ya. Okay? But as a vowel, it makes the E sound. Do that with a thinner brush. E. Just like in English, E. The long vowel sound. E. I'm sorry, it should have two dots here. Okay. So the letter ya has two dots, and it makes the E sound. E. Okay. So your long vowels then in Arabic are Aleph, Waw, and Ya. Aleph makes the ah sound, Waw makes the oo sound, and Ya makes the E sound. Ah, oo, E. So these are your long vowels. Okay, we also have three short vowels in Arabic. But the short vowels are not actually normally written except on children's textbooks and on like religious materials like the Quran. Okay. Just get my pad stuck. Let's see here. I have to oh, there we go. Okay, so our short vowels are they're called Dhamma, Dhamma, Fatha, and Kesra. Okay, so those are your short vowels. And I'll show you what they look like in just a second. You'll want to write these down. Dhamma, Fatha, and Kesra. And these correspond to the long vowels, but the sounds are shorter. Dhamma, Fatha, and Kesra. So let's start with Dhamma. Dhamma is written above the line. It's just a little sign like this. It goes over a letter, and it makes the oo sound. Ah or oo. Dhamma. So it's written above the line, if it's written at all. A lot of times they're not written and you just have to know what they are. Okay? But the actual word itself is written on this line here, and then you write it above the actual word itself. And that's Dhamma. It makes the oo sound. Next, Feta. Feta also is written above the word, above the line, and it just looks like a little slash mark. That's Feta. Feta makes the ah sound. Ah. And then we have Kesra. Kesra is written underneath the line, and it looks like a little slash mark underneath the line. And it makes the E sound, but short. Okay? And this is Kesra. It makes the I or E sound. I or E, but not like the long vowel, E. So that one's much longer. This one's shorter, either I or E. So your three short vowels then are Feta above the line, Dhamma above the line, and Kesra that goes below the line. And when we have these letters paired with a consonant, it gives you a syllable in Arabic. Let me give you an example. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so if we have the letter Ba, the letter Ba makes the Ba sound, Ba. But if we add it with an Aleph, it's going to be Ba. So we went from the letter Ba, which makes the Ba sound, but when we add it to a vowel, Aleph, it's pronounced Ba, Ba. Okay, let's do another one. We have the letter Ta. The letter Ta with 2 points up makes the Ta sound. Changes a little bit when we have it at the beginning of the word. So we're going to have our 2 points up, the letter Ta. We're going to add it to a wow, and it becomes two, two, two. So we have the letter Ta at the beginning of the word, followed by a vowel, wow, and it's pronounced two, two. Let's try another one. We have, let's see, we'll do noon with 1 point up, the letter noon. This time we're going to add it to a ya. Okay, so noon at the beginning, followed by ya at the end of the word with 2 dots. And it's going to be pronounced ni, ni. Ni. So we have noon at the beginning and ya at the end. Ni. Okay, in addition to the long vowels and the short vowels that we have in the Arabic language, we also have what we call one-way connectors. One-way connectors. A one-way connector means that it can connect to what precedes it but never to what follows it. And there are 6 one-way connectors. 6 one-way connectors. I'm going to tell you what they are, and you'll want to write them down and memorize them because they're very important. Okay, so your 6 one-way connectors are, the first one, Aleph. Aleph. Aleph is a one-way connector. It can be preceded by a letter, but anything that follows it, you need to leave a space. So let's look at an example of that. If you have, starts with ba, and then you have an aleph, and then you want to write another ba behind it, you have to leave a space. So there's actually a space in the word itself. Bab. Bab. Bab means door. Bab. Bab. Bab means door. But you have a ba at the beginning of the word, followed by an aleph, which is a one-way connector, and then another ba at the end of the word, and it's pronounced bab. It's important to remember that Arabic is written from right to left, from right to left, so it's written in the opposite direction of English. Okay, so we're going to start our word here. Okay, bab. We go back and put our dots when we're done. Bab. Okay? Okay, so aleph is our first one-way connector. Our next one is dal. Dal. Dal can be preceded by a letter, but anything that follows the letter, you have to leave a space. Dal. Our third one-way connector is thal. Thal looks just like dal, but it has one point up. Dal and thal. Dal and thal. They're both one-way connectors. They can be preceded by something, but never, if you have something after it, you have to leave a space. So far we have aleph, dal, thal. We have 3 more. The next one is ra. Ra. Ra is a one-way connector. It can be preceded by something, but anything that follows it, you have to leave a space. After the letter ra, our next one is the letter zay. Zay. It can be preceded by a letter, but anything that follows it, you have to leave a space. And finally, our last one-way connector is the letter wow. Wow. Wow can be preceded by a letter, but if you have something after it, you have to leave a space. So there are 6 one-way connectors in Arabic. They're very important so you know how to form a word. You have to memorize them and know when to use them. The 6 are aleph, dal, thal, ra, zay, and wow. Aleph, dal, thal, ra, zay, and wow. These are your 6 one-way connectors. Anything that comes before them can be connected to it, but anything that comes after, you need to leave a space. Okay? Okay, I'm going to just write a letter on the board, and I want you just to tell me what it is, okay? I'm going to write a letter just at random, and I want you to tell me what it is. Let's start with this one.
Ta.
Good. The letter ta. Try this one. What's this letter?
Jim.
Gene. Very good. What about this one?
Seen.
Seen. Very good. What about this one?
Tay. Ta.
Tall.
Ta.
Tall. Uh-huh. Very good. Okay, what about this one?
Is that the Dow?
Dal. Very good. What about this one?
Oh, not sure.
Okay, this one, sometimes it's written like this. Do you know which one that is?
No. Or is it the how?
Ha. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Ha. Good. Okay. What about this one?
Is it meme?
Mean. Very good. Okay. What about this?
The yeah.
Yeah. Very good. What about this one?
Sod.
Sod looks like this. What about this one? We have a dot over it.
Dod.
Dod. Very good. Dod. Okay. What about this one?
Sheen.
Sheen. Very good. This one.
Is it ba?
Ba. Very good. About this one.
Tha.
Sa. Very good. What about this one?
Is it the ka one?
It's pronounced cha. Try that. Cha. It's way back in the back of the throat.
Ka.
Cha. Cha.
Ka.
Cha. Good. Cha. Okay, what about this one?
Ein.
Ein. Very good. What about this one?
Gein.
Gein. Very good. Gein. What about this one?
Ha.
Ha. Very good. Okay. You want to keep practicing those to make sure you know those. We're going to go to, let's see. Okay. I just want you to go across and tell me each letter that you see. Start up at the top, right-hand corner.
Aleph. Ba. Ta. Tha. Jim. Ha. Ka. Dal. Thou. Ra. Zay. Seen. Sheen. Sod. Dod. Ta. Tha. Or is that? Yeah, those are right.
Uh-huh, that's right. Uh-huh.
Ein. Gein. Fa. Cough. Calf. Lamb. Meme. Noon. Wow. Right?
Good. Uh-huh.
Ha. Oh, I forget what that one is.
Okay, that one's called Hamza. Hamza.
Yes. Hamza and then ya. Or yay.
And ya. Very good. Can you tell me which of these letters are the one-way connectors?
Aleph, Dal, Ra, Zay, and Wow.
Very good. Okay, can you tell me what the 3 long vowels are?
Aleph, wow, and ya.
Very good. Okay. Okay. Want you to read across the top line. Tell me what letters you see.
It's a ka,
Cha.
ba, ha, ta, and
Good.
lamb.
Very good. Next line.
Jim, Seen, Dal, Ein, and Ra.
Very
Or
good.
Ra.
Now the Ra. That's fine. Third line.
Zay, Gine, Sheen, Ya, and Dodd.
Very good. Fourth line.
Wow, Ta, Noon, Meme, and Za.
No.
Oh, wait, I jumped lines. I'm sorry. Cough.
Calf.
Or cat.
Calf. Calf. Good. Okay. Next line. The fifth line.
This one's cough. And then
Cough.
Thou,
Good.
Thou,
Thou.
Thou, Aleph, and Za. And then
Not
the
Zaw. It's pronounced Zaw.
Za.
Some people, particularly Egyptians, pronounce it Zaw, but in modern standard Arabic, it's actually pronounced Zaw.
Za.
Zaw. Good. And the last line?
Sod, Cough, Hamza,
Not cough. It only has 1 point up.
Calf. Oh, I messed that one
No.
up. Fa. That one.
Fa. Fa.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Hamza and then Ha.
Ha. Very good. Okay. Now, we're going to take a look at how the letters change depending on where they're found in the word. So most of the letters have 4 shapes. Your one-way connectors only have 2 shapes, okay? But most of the other letters have 4 shapes.
Okay.
And so these will show you how the letters change depending on where they're found in the word. Now, last week we went over the actual letters themselves, and those would be the letters in the isolated position. On this chart, it's the letters in the right-hand column, the one that's furthest to the right. Those are the actual letters in their isolated positions. Okay? Now, in the middle, right next to that, you see what the letter looks like if it's at the beginning of a word. Okay, so it gets much smaller. The shape really changes when it's at the beginning of the word. The whole back end of the letter comes off, and then it just is added to another letter. But here we have the letters ba, ta, tha, jim, ha, and cha at the beginning of the word. The third column is the way it looks if it's in the middle of a word. Okay, so it changes again. If it's in the middle of a word, it gets even smaller. And then finally, at the last column is the way it looks at the end of a word. Okay, so the 4 columns that you have on these charts that you'll be looking at are, the first column on the right would be the letter in its isolated form, when it's just by itself. The second column, the way the letter looks at the beginning of a word. The third column is the way it looks in the middle of a word. And finally, how it looks at the end of a word. So each letter can have up to 4 shapes, depending on where it's found in the word. So here we have ba at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end of a word. Ta in isolation, followed by the beginning, the middle, and the end of the word. Sa in isolation, followed by how it looks at the beginning of a word, in the middle, and at the end of the word. The letter Jim in isolation gets much smaller at the beginning of the word, or in the middle of the word in your third column, or in the fourth column it gets that whole shape back, and that's at the end of a word. Same for ha. Ha. At the beginning, in the middle, and at the end of the word. And Jim. Jim in isolation, at the beginning of the word in your second column, in the middle of the word in your third column, and at the end of the word in your fourth column. Okay? Our next chart shows dal, thal, ra, zay, seen, and sheen. Okay, dal we know is one of those one-way connectors. So it only has two shapes. So you'll notice it doesn't change much. It has the isolated position in your first two columns. That's in its isolated position. Or at the beginning of a word, it looks the same. If it's preceded by something, then it looks the way it does in the third. And if it is preceded by something in the last column, also would be your final. Okay, so you only have two shapes for dal and also for thal. You'll notice they make the same changes, dal and thal. You have your isolated form and your connected form, just the two forms. Same thing with ra and zay. You have the isolated forms of ra and zay, just like the letters that we learned last week, and then the connected form of ra and zay, the connected forms. Okay, the next letters that we have are seen and sheen. Now these are not one-way connectors, so they actually have four different shapes. The first column is seen in its isolated position, just like we learned it last week. Followed by seen at the beginning of a word in the second column, seen in the middle of a word in the third column, and seen at the end of the word in the fourth column. You can see how it changes. Sheen, the next letter, makes the same changes. It also has four different shapes. So sheen at the in isolation at the beginning in the first column. In the second column, sheen when it begins a word. In the third column, sheen in the middle of a word. And finally, sheen at the end of a word. So it has four different shapes, both seen and sheen. And you'll get lots of practice on this when you do your assignments this week and next week.
Okay.
Okay, next we have sawed and dawed. Sawed and dawed. Sawed in isolation in the first column, at the beginning of a word, in the middle, and then finally at the end. You see how it changes. And throughout the week this week, we'll practice writing these as well. So you'll see that as you watch the other videotapes this week. Okay, next, dawed, same thing. In isolation, at the beginning of a word, in the middle of a word, and at the end of a word. The letter ta and the, they don't change a whole lot. They're still connected, so they aren't one-way connectors, but they don't change a whole lot. Okay? So again, ta at the beginning of a word, in the middle of a word, or at the end of the word. Same thing with the in isolation, at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end of the word. Now, we have ein and ghain, the last two rows. And here you'll notice they change a lot, okay? So in isolation, you have ein, it's a fairly large letter. At the beginning of a word, it almost looks like Hamza, but it just like sits on the line and it connects to what follows it. Then ein in the middle of a word in your third column, and finally ein at the end of the word. It gets that big shape back, but it still looks different than the isolated one. Same thing with ghain. It makes those same changes, but the difference is here you have a point above the letter. So you have ghain in its isolated position, ghain at the beginning of a word, ghain in the middle of a word, and ghain finally at the end of the word. Okay? But you can see how they change. And in order to put words together, you have to not only know the 28 letters that we learned last week, but you have to know how they change to be able to put words together. And we'll be working on that this week as well. Okay, next, we have the letter fa. Fa in isolation in the right-hand column. Fa at the beginning of a word in the second column. Fa in the middle of a word in the third column. And fa at the end of a word in the fourth column. And incidentally, you have all of these charts on the Canvas site, so you can just click on those later, but it's good to follow along and write them down. Actually, it's good practice. Next, we have the letter qaf. Qaf. Qaf in isolation. Qaf in the beginning of a word. Qaf in the middle of a word, and finally at the end of the word. Then we have kaf. Kaf in isolation. At the beginning of a word, it changes a lot. In the middle, it changes again. And then finally at the end, it gets the basic shape from the isolated position back, but it's connected. Our fourth letter is lam. Lam. Lam at the beginning of a word. Lam in the middle of a word. It almost looks like an aleph. You see that? It almost looks like an aleph. But the reason you know it's not an aleph is because it will be connected to something. And if it were an aleph, it would never be connected. It could be connected on the preceding side, but anything that comes after it, you'd have to leave a space. But on lam, it actually will connect. So you'll know it's a lam. And then finally, in the fourth column is lam at the end of the word. Next, we have meme in isolation, followed by meme at the beginning of the word, meme in the middle of the word, and in the fourth column, meme at the end of the word. Our last row is the letter noon. Noon. Noon in isolation, noon at the beginning of the word. Here, you might get it mistaken for a zay or a thou. But you'll know when it's connected in a word. If it connects, you'll know it's a noon as opposed to a dal or a thou, because a dal or a thou would be a one-way connector. Okay, followed by noon in the middle of a word, and then finally noon at the end of the word. We've got one more chart to go through, so let's do that. Just 4 more. Okay, so we have here, skip the first 2. We're just looking at the ones here, these 4. The first one is wow. And remember that wow is a one-way connector, so it only has those 2 shapes. It has the isolated position, and it has the connected position to something that precedes it. But anything that follows it, you need to leave a space. Our next letter is the letter ha, and that one changes a lot. And in fact, ha written the way they show it here is honestly not quite correct, because in its isolated position, it should just be like a teardrop. It shouldn't look with the double loop through it. I don't know why they do that. Some people do that, but here it's showing it looking the same, and it honestly it doesn't. When I get the screen back up, I'll write it and show it how it should be.
Okay.
But you have ha in isolation, then ha at the beginning of the word. In the middle of the word, it looks like a butterfly, and then at the end of the word, it almost looks like a letter A. Okay, so it changes quite a bit. Then we have hamza. We won't worry about hamza today. We'll just skip over that one. And then we'll go to ya. Ya. Ya in isolation, your last row. Ya in isolation. At the beginning of the word, it looks like ba, ta, and tha, but just with 2 points down. In the middle of the word, and finally at the end of the word, it gets that big shape again. Okay, so let me show you what I meant about the letter ha. Okay, so ha, when it's in isolation, should look like this, or even just a circle. Okay, but the way they showed it there was like this. That actually is ha at the beginning of a word. Okay, so this is ha in isolation. Okay, ha in isolation, and this one is ha at the beginning of a word. Ha in the middle of a word looks like this, and ha at the end of a word looks like this. Okay, and we'll be working on all of those shapes, but it's important that you memorize each of those shapes and how it changes, so that you can start to put words together. Okay, because the words are formed by having a letter at the beginning of the word, letters in the middle, and then letters at the end. So you need shapes to be able to put together a word. Let me just write one word for you that you can see. Here we have, oh, I didn't. Okay, here we have a kaf followed by a ta, and then an aleph and a ba. And the word is kitab. Kitab. You're probably seeing that backwards, but we'll learn that one. Forgot I unhooked. Okay, so I just wanted to let you know that next Saturday we will not have class because I'll be out of town.
Okay.
Okay, there will be classes on Monday and there'll be classes on Wednesday. Okay, so you'll want to make sure and watch those.
Okay.
And I'll put the videos up of those. Do you have any questions about anything that we've gone over today?
I have one question, like, about the pronunciation. Why is raw like raw, but then it's zay? Like, does that make sense? Like, I guess I'm confused with how it's kind of spelled the same, but it's pronounced differently. Like, there's raw, but then zay is not like zaw.
Oh, okay. Those are just, they're actually the names of the letters.
Oh, okay.
And the names of the letters are different than the sounds that the letters make. And that's a really important distinction.
Okay.
Okay, so you have the letter zay, but the sound is za, za.
Okay.
And the sound will change depending on what vowels you have paired with it. And we will be going over that in Monday's class and Wednesday's class.
Okay.
And to see. There's also a really good song that shows the letters of the alphabet with the short vowels, and you'll want to sing that over and over again.
Okay.
The link is on Canvas. Make sure you spend a lot of time singing those songs, because the songs will really help you with the sounds that the letters make and to make them properly.
Okay.
Other questions?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Will you be in class on Monday or Wednesday? Will you be able to make those?
I will not, because now, like, my new job, I work 7 to 3:30. So
Okay. Okay. Like I said, next Saturday I'll be out of town, so we won't have class. So then I'll see you in 2 weeks. But make sure and watch the videotapes from the other classes. Okay.
okay.
Okay. Thanks for coming. Have a good week. Okay. Ma salama.